Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything is working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, your local game guy, and I think that this is our first video in 2024. So, on behalf of all of Local Game Group, Happy New Year's. I'm excited for the entirety of this year. There's so much been left. But how was everyone's New Year's? Did you do anything fun? Let me know in the comments. But before we jump any further in this one, I want you guys to know that these live streams, all of them, if it's something where there's gameplay involved, you're more than welcome to participate. So, One Piece Wednesdays, still going to be a thing moving into the future, going to be a thing for the foreseeable future. I like to build off-meta decks with you guys on camera. We can work on some meta stuff, but in most of those cases, the decks are already solved, so it's less exciting. Right, you know, we kind of have a preconceived notion of what should go in the deck to begin with, so you know, how much wiggle room is there? And that's not to say that the deck might not have flex spots, excuse me. Most all decks do, but it's much more fun to work on strategies that aren't as mainstream or brute for, at least in my opinion. But in all of these instances, if you guys want to participate in the gameplay, feel free to let me know in the comments. And I, of course, will send you an invite to play, so you can be more a part of the conversation and obviously get the test against the deck. If you happen to be following along and want to build the deck for a mirror match, we can do that too. But that goes for every One Piece Wednesday from here on out, aside from the pre-recorded ones. But if you're on the Discord and you do want to participate in some pre-recorded gameplay, I suppose you could. You know what? Why don't we do that? Let me open up. This might fool with your screen in a second. I'm gonna open up the Discord and create a link for you guys. Let's see if it does. No? Okay, cool. I'll create a link for you guys to join the Discord if you want to participate in any of our live stream sessions. So we have Friday Night Magic on Friday, obviously. These One Piece sessions, which are Wednesdays. And I'm gonna add a link to the description here. It says join the Discord. It only stays active for 7 days, but if you did want to participate in gameplay with other Discordians and or with me on a pre-recorded match, maybe I'll put out some feelers before I put out another video like that Gecko Morio one, then there you go. This is your opportunity. Or if you just want to talk TCGs, that's a good way to do so. But yeah, that should be there for you. Just refresh your page if it's not. But Z, let me tell you. Remember when this came out, I'm like, oh, how cool is this? You know, removal on a body, that's always there. Same thing with Black Sakazuki from that starter, OP06, which people really only care about for the Hina and some other cards, but you know, it's upsetting because that deck, I liked playing it and it was okay, but having removal on a body where there's such a detriment as having to trash a card really hurt. And in Z's case, it's negging 4 Dawn. Right, so you're like, well, what's comparable to this effect? I mean, surely this has to be of some value. If I'm not mistaken, you can neg 5 Dawn for Kaido and kill a thing that's 6 or less and give this body rush, and it's 10k power. Z gets to kill something that's 3 or less and gets 1000 power in return. It feels bad, but we're going to try to make it work. Z's not on the screen for you guys yet. I'm still chilling in the show before the show territory here. But yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord, feel free to hit that link. And of course, if you're attending the live and want to participate in some gameplay against me, let me know. We could probably go over to our deck editor though. If you've never seen this, it's Batsu Games OPTCG Sim. It's a great way to stay up to date with all the recent cards. There are translations for everything in here up to OP06, and I'll prove it with this Reiju. See? Are you even reading the text? Here, let's look at this one. Oh, nope, just another one. Okay, there you go. Been Smoke Yonji. You can read the text there, I'm sure. But we're going to touch on Z in just a second. And some of my thoughts. Obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments or in the live chat if you're here. So, Z. Great movie. Okay card. When attacking, -4 Dawn. I kind of wish it was just activate main. You know, obviously that would make this the most playable, but whatever. On attacking. Just hope you're not facing like a green Doflamingo or something, because that would suck. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less, then this leader gains 1000 power during this turn. I'm not gonna lie, I never really factored in, I've play tested a couple of versions of Z. I've never really factored in the plus 1k power for this effect. You know, I'm not really thinking to go for like a 2-for-1 Dawn up and then hit for 7 instead. That's never really been the thing. It's there. I guess what I'm saying is there hasn't been much support for this guy since he came out, and now there is. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can think about my combat math a little bit more concretely as we go into games. But what's important to note when we look at Z today, and like I said, not much support through OP02, OP03, OP04, and now with OP05, it's a little bit better, but the cards that have come out are really of benefit for the leaders that have come out. You can tell that they're kind of just experimenting with each set and then kind of, he'd put it this way, dropping the ball on previous leaders. Especially, I mean, you look at something like, let's talk about a guy who hasn't gotten support. Is this purple yellow crocodile? Nope. Iceberg? Nope. Not concerned. Not concerned with those two. Purple really got done dirty since OP01, let me just state. Purple Luffy from OP05, finally something that people want to see. But that film for Emperor's red-haired pirates Shanks, we all try to forget about him. And same with King. All really bad leaders. And for some reason they thought blue-purple was like a decent synergy for both Kaido and Crocodile. They keep making weird choices, but purple, it's really going to be supplemented here by black in the best possible way, I think. So we're not building a list for OP05 today. The goal of today's video, and I guess we can officially start. Hey guys, Z, cool character, right? I think that in OP06, he could become extremely playable. There's a lot of support in that set, and with the current set that's out now in the US, if you're playing in the East, in the West, if you're where I am, you don't have OP06 yet. So the idea being for this particular brew is whether or not it's worth picking up that AA copy before it explodes in value. You might have noticed that this game's really picked up in popularity over the last year. Especially with a live action release, more and more people are hearing about this property, wanting to get into it, explore its characters, explore its universe. And this Bandai Namco game turns out to be a great way to do that. Heck, they're even selling it at Target now, so there's no way you can miss it. Unless there's just not inventory. Then you'll definitely miss it, which happened to be every single Target in my local area. However, the game's really blowing up in popularity, and people are starting to do this thing they do with all popular TCGs. They're buying out copies of cards that were previously inexpensive to inflate the price for you. But not really for you, for their own pocketbooks. And that's cool. It happens with every game. People are entrepreneuring in that sense, and they see a profit, so they're doing it. My goal is to see, before this goes over $50, at the time of this live stream, I think the AA version of Z, who's been like $20 for the longest time, and don't even get me started on red, green Luffy from OP01. It's not played, but it's $250 on TCG Player. Before it peaks above $50, which I think is a palatable price for an AA leader that's not played, you obviously would have preferred to buy this for $25 or less. It's really been down there. Same with the Linland, same with so many AA leaders. Let's see if we can make a playable version of this card before OP06. So that you too could spec buy the latest piece of tech from an old set. Does that make sense? Let's just try to get in while the getting's good, I think is what I'm trying to say. And right now might be good. We'll soon find out. So we're going to be brewing for OP06 and we're going to be playing in OP06. So if you want to play again with me today, you're more than welcome to just give me a shout out in the live chat here and we can go ahead and set up some games for us to play. Just make sure you have an OP06 list at hand so that I guess we're on the same playing field, but if you don't care about that, it doesn't matter. Elsewise, we're going to play with some random people. I want to make sure I cover up the chat, so you're going to see a QR code on the screen later. But on that note, thoughts on Z. -4 is a lot. That's a whole hell of a lot. Black and purple actually get along because purple cares about levels of characters. You might have noticed with the Kaido I referenced earlier, right? It actually cares about what level your opponent's characters are. Here, 6 or less. Black really loves levels too, but in a different way. It's going to level reduce things. So, for us, what is the best way we can manipulate this guy's negative Dawn detriment? The cost of this effect is way too high, I have to say. It's not very balanced for when this card came out. It's still not very balanced. It's not very good. That value is way too high, especially for like, if you look at something like Yellow's Katakuri, that's just generically good, you don't even need to look at life. He just gets a K power. It's 1 Dawn, 2K power, and also information, which is amazing. And then you look at someone like Z and you're like, man, -4 to kill a 3. It could have been -3, and I still don't think this would be played. But okay, Sarah, we're going to try to mitigate some of this loss with effects like the most recent blocker Kid, which we could probably add now. But I also want to incorporate other things that care about us losing our Dawn, right? So this is going to help a little bit, right? Not a lot of it, but a little bit. And the other reason why I said I wish this was activate main, which it really should have been, is so that you could use something like this Kid, right? I don't think they had the foresight, because the people designing for this set probably weren't the same people designing for this set, or maybe they were and they just didn't give a shit about Z. But it would have been cool if this was activate main, because we could neg the Dawn, retrieve the Dawn, go up another K, and then swing a 7K, right? Actually give us some really cool combos. But instead, we're stuck to attacking. So there's a lot of things working against them. Don't get me wrong, I'm still hopeful. 5 for 6K Kid. Seems okay, right? I don't think I'm going to say that this is overly popular and unnecessarily so. I don't think that this Kid needs to be as popular as it is right now. I think the idea of it's really good, but if you're not using this effect consistently, then you're really not getting value out of it, and it's just another 5 for 6K, and you should really just be playing the Queen blocker instead. But because our leader does negative Dawn, we're going to have this ability on command. When we curve out on turn 3 on the play to this Kid, does that mean we -4 Dawn immediately? Hell no. And what, we go back down to 2? This is a really bad setup. Z's ability, in my opinion, is really just for the late game. That's it. We're moving a handful of threats. So we're trying to make the best out of our deck, and then utilize this to remove a few choice blockers that come up. Z is going to be the last one you want to attack with, trust me. And that's generally how it works when you have a couple of bodies out, excuse me. You should attack with your characters before you attack with your leader. Anyways, this way it saves you from any potential triggers that might kill something that is active on your board, right? So you miss the opportunity to get that attack in, so on and so forth. So the play pattern should work to our favor. But because of the -4, we can also try to leverage it a little bit more if we get bodies to land that have the benefit of giving us Dawn for their effect. Here, we can get the 3 life pretty easily, but Zorojuro, obviously more tuned for the 6K red-purple Luffy, but there's still other cards that we should definitely consider. And we'll go through all of them, but stuff like whenever we have less Dawn than our opponent, right, like here, this could be good. Whenever we have Dawn removed and there's an effect, right, like there's a wire blocker from the 3 captains starter deck, which is starter 10. This is also potentially viable. It fuels our graveyard as well. This is what you call a loot effect. You draw, you get card quality, you see what you're looking, you know, what you potentially have to play with, and you discard a card. This is going to help us fuel our graveyard to play. I don't want to say Lucci. I don't think we're playing Lucci, but we could. Thing is, you know, Lucci's really good in Sakazuki because he's fueling your grave. Like, you're going to get there that much quicker because of your leader. Wire is a combo in tandem with Z that is doing what Sakazuki does just by himself. Sakazuki makes you discard first, but he doesn't give a shit. Trust me, that deck doesn't care. Wire could potentially be good. I think we're going to need to turtle up a little bit with this deck to get to the late game and then start nuking the board. Use this Kid. Man, I really love this kid. I don't know if we're on it though, but I will put the full set for now. We're gonna, what I like to do with these deck builds is to just build up as much of the deck as possible. We'll even go over the 51 count, and we'll start removing things as we go along once we sort of pad out what the curve of the list should look like, as well as what the overall play pattern should look like. I'm thinking about getting back into One Piece TCG. I like aggro, fast gameplay. Would you recommend... you know what? I love that these emotes are here, but they get in the way of your comments. So give me a second. I'll need to pull this up on my phone. Who would you recommend as a strong leader? I would say right now, Purple Luffy is pretty aggressive and pretty fast. You might pad out your early game with a handful of like 2 CMC blockers, but you're generally trying to ramp into your late game with said Kaido. I've mentioned this a lot. He's really grown in prominence since recently because of Purple Luffy, which is kind of ironic, those two favoring each other so much. But this Kaido, fantastic aggro strategy. And obviously, if you have any trigger effects just in the body of your deck that also happen to give you Dawn, they help you get to Kaido so much quicker, so that when you get to the -5 and you start murking the board, your opponent should be pretty far behind. I don't personally like 5-cost Magellan in this deck, which slows it down quite a bit. And your opponent too, but I'm not going to lie, I've seen people shoot themselves in the foot more and be off plays because of this Magellan than it's actually helped them. I think we play a game. I think I have a recorded match where I pointed out pretty concretely where they stub themselves in the toe. The other, and that was Red Purple Luffy, who's also an aggressive aggro deck. I actually like the Red Purple Luffys with the 1000 Sunny stage. It's actually kind of a cool combo because 1000 Sunny, as soon as you have it down, you're just giving your leader plus 1k power, and then you're swinging a 7k every turn, which is essentially what Katakuri's doing. But in this sense, you know, you've got it assembled in a package that has more to it than Katakuri. So I think that you can go with Purple Luffy, Jesse. Just buy the standard copy. I think the Purple Luffy himself is going to go down the AA version in price just a little bit more. It's not as heavily played as some other leaders at this moment, but it's still good. And I think it will only get better. So if you did want to invest, it's like a really cool AA leader. Plus it's Luffy, so there's going to be that tax on it. Again, if red-green Luffy's any indication of people's willingness to overpay for shit that's not very good, let that be an example. So I would say Purple Luffy right now. It's the new hotness. The cards themselves are pretty easy to acquire if you already have like the starter sets, specifically the Kaido starter set, which is starter set 4, excuse me. Then you have like a majority of the cards that this list wants. So you should be good, right? I think some people play Queen in there as well. I'll play Queen in there. Some people play 5-cost Kid. I think he's just okay in there. But I would suggest that to start with, and hopefully that puts you in the right direction. Thanks and Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. All right, so on to the deck. Like I was saying, I want to incorporate some of the OP05 cards we've seen and starter cards we've seen as of recently that are good for this package. I want to look at black later, but almost specifically for brand new. Almost specifically for brand new, and because there's some film cards we might add in a second, or Navy cards, excuse me. You know, if we go purely film, we actually do have a 2K searcher, Buenafesta. I don't know if he's really great here. Buena Fiesta? Okay. Well, he's in here as a potential searcher for the film package cards. Sadly, a lot of the core cards that you're going to see for purple right now, at least this bundle, are Kid Pirates. But let's go ahead and just look over some of the new OP06 cards, see what's there for us, both in black and purple, and then we'll make our determinations of what the list should look like from there. I think that these are fine to include. I know that this blocker kid will probably be in there, and if we do go a more Kid Pirates route, right, we also have this guy who's really good. I think that this is probably fantastic for Z, but it's yet to be determined. But again, black, purple really love each other. Your turn once per turn. When Dawn is returned from your field to your deck, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 3 or less. We can actually punch much higher with things like Ice Age or any sort of cost reducing thing in black, and then use Z's ability to kill more things. So later, this is actually quite effective. And he just needs to be on the battlefield. Like, you could just, like, let's say our late game boils down to, you know, a 9 Dawn turn or a 10 Dawn turn, and there's really not too much we can do, but we're threatened with however much is on the board. We can go ahead and put Killer down before cost reducing something to get the kill on something else, and then killing something with Killer, right? So it's sort of a nice 2-for-1, or 2-for-2, I should say, but potentially playable here. This Killer's really not played in anything, but I don't think it's a bad card. I just think it lacks the right leader. Maybe Magellan would also like this, but I've not seen Magellan in quite some time, and maybe it's a deck for a future brewing session. But we've got some new cards that I want to take into consideration. Let's go past these promos. When Dawn is returned on your field to your Dawn deck, KO to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 2 or less. So this is a little bit better. It's a little... green cares about shit being tapped, so purple kind of has these hybrid effects like the Killer we were just looking at, where they sometimes care if it's rested, sometimes don't care if it's rested, which is a little annoying. Right now, the Smile package isn't that good or important. You'll notice there are the Smile subtype's going to come up a little bit with some earlier cards. The package itself isn't that well supported, but we now have a 2K for it, so, you know, maybe it's worth playing. There's this thing called, like, Forbidden Fruit event. Let me see here if I can find it for you guys. But there's a few things. There you go. The Devil Fruit Smile. Look at the top 3, reveal 3 or less, and play it. There's some cool Smile stuff I tried to do with Purple Kaido ages ago. Not that effective. But there are also tutors for your Smile cards. Reveal Artificial Devil Fruit, put it in your hand. It's a 2K body, 2K C in the hand. So maybe we can try a Smile thing here. The cards that synergy with that event I showed you, though, are like Hold'em, Speed, yada yada. There's like, they're just okay. Daifugu and Domino. Is it Domino? Sorry, Solitaire. Those are probably the best ones because they're vanilla 5Ks, but yeah. There's not too much for the Smile packages. I guess what I'm saying, it's not really great. But she's also Kid Pirates, so she, I don't know with this character. But I don't think we'll use this. A 4 for 5K that's 2KC in the hand is still pretty good, and it's a searchable 2K for us, right? That's sort of the issue with this searcher right now, this Killer searcher for Kid Pirates. Like, the package of Kid Pirates is fantastic, but this searcher really hasn't had any 2KCs that it could hit, if I'm not mistaken, either in black or purple. But with Smile, we do get that. So I keep not Smile Tribe. With Kamazo, we get that. We're going to ignore Smile. Forget everything I said about the Smile subtype. It's not playable. But we do have a 2KC we can search up. So maybe we do go that route. Plus the effect actually works in tandem with Z. Oh, -1 Dawn. We're not going to add any negative Dawn effects outside of this guy. I will not stand any more negative Dawn effects in purple for this deck. It's too much of a detriment. It really is. Like, when you set yourself back on curve, it better be for a very meaningful play. And because we already have that with our leader, I think we could just leave it to our leader to handle killing things in that way, and we'll let the rest of our deck do everything else. So, like, get value off that effect. Makes me want to take out Wire. Because, again, I don't see us using that effect till way later. But Zephyr. 7 for 7K. Film Navy, you say. So Brand New could find this. I'm pretty sure Brand New is any Navy type card. Doesn't have to be black Navy type card. Which is also weird with some searchers having to find specific colors of things. But, you know, they did it. -1 Dawn. Nullify all abilities from up to one of your opponent's characters this turn. Then, if that character has 5,000 power or less, KO it. All right. So the 5,000 power or less is a red thing. So is it worth us running Zephyr in Zephyr? 5,000 is going to hit a lot, but we don't really have anything to power reduce. So this feels like it's more for a red-purple list. Also, I said I was trying to avoid as much negative done as possible. We are making an exception for this kid. Does it change his combat math in a great way? Moving on. What I do like is Shiki. So this Shiki is actually really sick. I made a Luffy that I've been playing that is a film package Luffy for OP06. The same Luffy, Jesse, I was referring to earlier. I actually find the film package quite good. And you do pack in, or at least I do pack in, a handful of 2 cost blockers. And Shiki makes for a fantastic one early or late game because of the draw ability. You're able to, again, another card quality effect that's just in your list, that if you have something trapped in your hand that you don't necessarily want or need in this moment, you can put down a blocker, spare your life, and potentially get something you need off the top of your deck. Excuse me. Zoro might be solid in the 3-cost slot, and there's the 2K Beast Pirates Sasaki and another attack ramp effect. My concern with any sort of attack, my concern with any of those effects is the fact that right now the meta is so, it's so heavily skewed towards on-play text that removes things. So a lot of those bodies, once they land, you know, like this 5-cost kid, we're going to play it today. Mark me, we're going to play this today, and I'm never going to be able to see its ability take effect. Because generally, things die pretty quickly, right? Depending on your matchups, mind you. And Zoro is really prime target for early removal, but I don't disagree that it is a very good utility to get the ball rolling on us using our leader's ability much sooner. And without the concern of falling too far behind. So I don't disagree that we could consider that. Sasaki is interesting. I think you need to discard a card for Sasaki's effect, but we'll get there when we get there. I will add the Zoro though for now. You know, it's something that's definitely going to be targeted, and we just need to suffer that. It's also something where we need to commit to taking a life early, and I mean really early, because if we're on the play, just say we're on the play, and then we pass to our opponent, hopefully we had a decent 1-drop. They take their turn. Our next turn, we play Zoro. We want to take life to get the ability, but if we're not there, then we just don't get it, right? And we just have a 3 for 4. And I wouldn't recommend you tap Zoro to just attack with him. You definitely want his ramp effect. So it's a difficult call. I'm going to put it in the list for now. I'm not going to say it sticks, but it may. So let's continue looking through some of these new cards. If your leader is German 66, we can probably ignore that. Here's another film card that we can consider. It's -1 Dawn on the play. If your leader's film, he is, add 2 4 or lower film type characters from your trash to your hand. Four or less. Man, that's pretty damn good, actually. Add 2 4 or lower. That's extremely good. Again, I don't like seeing the -1 Dawn, but we will need to pack in some Dawn gain. Let's see if we don't make a film package here. Again, this is all in an effort to see if Zephyr and OP06 is, you know, can play competitively, and if it's worth picking up that AA copy. I do have a poll ongoing that I'll leave running until the end to let people add their 2 cents of whether they think it's going to be playable or not. Reiji is kind of cool. If you have less Dawn on the field than your opponent, and you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. It's actually playable, but I don't know if we play it. One thing I want to state is that we have one of the best combo cards available to us in OP06, being in black. And I'm just going to add 4 of them right now, because I think this card's a freaking beast. We should add Gecko Moria. This is not too dissimilar to what Guild Tessero is doing for us, except Gecko Moria is going to put it onto the battlefield. So we could potentially, I could see us going a film route and then supplementing it with a handful of things. We also have some black film characters, but what's important to note about Gecko Moria is that he doesn't care about the color of the character he's bringing back, only that they be 4 and 2, right? 4 and under, 2 and under. It might be something we do. I legitimately really like... You know what? Let's just commit. I want to see... We're going to commit now. I want to see what kind of film build we can do. Sadly, the new purple film Z is for a different deck, but that's okay. I still think we want to keep this kid. Let's add the Shikis. Let's add the Shikis. There's more film cards we can look up in a few, and there's some black film cards we can look up. I think we may supplement with Reiju, right? Because we will have less Dawn than our opponents. We definitely will when we get to playing her. But we can also commit to playing her off of Gecko Moria, right? So anything 4 and under is really sweet for this list, right? If it gets murked early, it's okay. And 5 or less cards in hands, you know, we're not going to rely on any sort of removal package from black that requires us to trash a card. Another thing I'm going to try to avoid with this list. But I think we'll probably be down on hand anyways, so this could be good for just giving us the draw. It's also a 4 for 5. She's so freaking good. All right. If you have less Dawn in the field than your opponent, this character gets 1000 power. You know, Yanji's not bad for us as a blocker. It's a 6k blocker. I think we're probably going to rely on... Well, we really can't, actually. Depending on how purple heavy our package is, Rebecca's not really going to be a viable option for us. And a lot of these synergies with these new Germa 66 cards care about other Germa 66 cards, so we're not going to be able to play too many of these whatsoever. I think we could probably avoid the majority of them. Yeah, we can avoid the majority of these. New Luffy, is it good for the list? I don't think so. Sadly. Oh, what? Oh, we got more support for purple, yellow. No, it's not good. She's good. I actually really like Miss Doublefinger quite a bit, but I don't know if we want to use her trigger ever, and this is technically ramp, right? But it's also a 2KC. I feel like she's really just there for the 2KC potential. I'm just looking for anything supplemental at this point. If you have less Dawn on the field than your opponent, give it to one of your opponent's characters, negative 2000 power. You know what? That Beppo actually works with this Z, but it's not like something we're going to try to commit to. Let's put that out there. I'm skimming just a little bit to see if we can find any other film type cards that are worthy of consideration. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't taken inventory of all the film cards since the dawn of time. Miss All Sunday might be solid. Oh man, I really like Miss All Sunday. Did we just pass her? We'll look at her in a second. You know, I wish this Uta were playable. Like, if we went wide, sure. What's important to note is that this is until the start of your next turn, so there is some decent playability here. It's very much like, it's almost like having that 7-cost kid, except that 7-cost kid is 7 for 8 and will do it repeatedly. That's why that kid is so good, and this Uta is kind of laughably bad. But what's cool is that we can actually ram our whole board at them if we play this Uta. But outside of her being a film type card, I wouldn't say she is a worthy card. I'll go back down to our Missile Sunday though. So on the play, add up to 1 rested Dawn from your cost area. If you have 6 or more Dawn cards, draw a card. So this is another sort of advantageous play we can roll out. It doesn't combo with Gecko Moria, which is one of the things I was kind of considering here, but I don't mind it. I wouldn't say that we're going to try to trigger play this though. Let's add the 4. We'll see if they stick. I actually really like Polly as a card. I think he's sort of gone up in at least a general appeal with players as of recent date. There is this Douglas Bullet, but I mean, I didn't like him then, and I still don't like him now. I don't like having a -1 Dawn for this effect. It's because you compare something like this. Hear me out. So you look at Douglas Bullet, you're like, it's a 5 for 6, a 1k in hand pad, and you only have to -1 Dawn to rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 4. You should have just killed the thing. I think this should have been one of those things where it says rest a thing that's 4 or less, because then green has a similar card with 4 cost 6k Yamato. Mind you, she doesn't have any counter power, but just being played gives you the ability to tap shit down severely, 6 or less. If I'm not mistaken, she says 6 or less, which is also a really cool combo potential card with Gecko Moria and Perona, but we'll talk about that in a future date. I think that this Douglas bullet is just not well balanced and is a bad rate for effect, because you still need to commit an attack to kill the thing, unless you're just trying to get around it, and then at that point, it's better to still just focus on things that kill things. You'll notice that's sort of like the trend now. Like, less 2k counters in hands, more ways to just kill things, so that you don't have to think about using counter power. You're just killing things. And then your opponent's going to try to play out a board, which removes their Dawn, which removes their ability to effectively attack you with higher powered things. So you don't need all the 2Ks in hand. I've got gripes, people. I've got gripes. All right. Let's move on to our promos and starter cards, though. But we can check the Miss All Sunday. I think she might be worth it. She might be worth it. But I do think that there are some other purple cards that are maybe higher to consider for that same effect. Like this Uta. So it's 5 for 6 instead of 5 for 5. It's automatic gain Dawn. This is also automatic add rested Dawn. So there's a little bit of a difference here. Oh, no. Oh, and rested. Oh, okay. The wording is just different. Sorry. But if you have 6 or more, you get to draw a card. So if you play her on curve, I think she is just decidedly better than this Uta. And also, you don't really want to... I gotta say, you don't really want to spend as much money as this Uta costs. I remember she was kind of expensive for a hot minute. But then again, she's also film, so she's searchable. And I think we will be using the searcher effects. He's also film? I still don't want him. That's Shiki, though. Trust me, the Shiki's good. None of these other cards are worth our time. Okay. And I don't think any of these are film cards, but I do want to look at that Sasaki you mentioned earlier, so we can just take a gander at its effect. Not seeing it. He should be around this region, though. There he is. 2k counter, you may trash a card from your hand, add up to 1 Dawn card and from your deck and rest it. So it's a 3 for 4. It's kind of got the Nico Robin effect, right? So it's 3 for 4. You have to go add a Dawn to it, swing for vanilla, and then you get the thing. It's a 2k counter, I think, foremost. And then you get the ability to trash a card and potentially ramp. I don't know if I like having to trash a card to ramp here, although it does make sense with our leader. I think there are probably better ways to add Dawn cards to our field. So let's try to incorporate some of those now. We don't want any of these. He's Navy. 3 for 5 Navy. We don't need that, though. 4 for 5, add up to 1 Dawn card for your deck and rest it. I don't know if I love this, but if we're off play, it's good. Also, if we are playing with Gecko Moria, which we are, this is not a bad body. I do like this Uta quite a bit. I do think she's probably still worth it. Like, this is a good rate. On block, -1, rest up to a 5 or less. Douglas, eat your freaking heart out. Like, that's a good card. And it's a 1k counter. Just too much value. She's film and 2 cost, which means geckoable. Right. Mind you, Gecko needs to be the top end of our game, because we're gonna rely on Z at this point, and hopefully Gecko will be able to pull some stuff like this back to combo with. So potentially I can see us using her. Rest this character and you may trash 1 film card from your hand. If your opponent has more Dawn cards in field than you, add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. Here's what I like about this over the Sasaki. And mind you, we do need to add 2k counters eventually, at least 8 to 12 tops. But we'll probably stick between 8 to 10. What I like about Karina is she can be a counter from our hand early, pulled back with Gecko Moria, and if we're on a predominantly film package, being able to aggressively get back Dawn is going to be important, because he only cares about negging the Dawn. We don't need it to be You know, we don't need to have Dawn that's active to be able to use his effect. We could just have Dawn do the thing. Let's see here. Uta blocker can rest important blockers too, like Borsellino. Yeah. And Borsellino is like, and mind you, it's like, where did I even add her? I'm sorry, I didn't even add her. What am I doing? She's so good because 5 is really the magic number for blockers in the game right now. There are so many good 5-cost blockers, and the lion's share of them are going to be in purple. There are so many good purple blockers nowadays. We haven't even gone to this one. This guy's a pain in the ass. Imagine me using Gecko Mori to pull this out against a Whitebeard later, like late game. They're gonna DC. They're gonna be so upset with their lives if we pull this out off of Gecko Moria, which makes me want to play it, which I think we might. But Uta is really important because those 5-cost blockers, excuse me, they're so prominent now that she hits so well. She hits so aggressively. I think she's really good, and she's worth the negative Dawn, provided we're getting our Dawn elsewise. I just don't like that Aang doesn't have... I don't know why she doesn't have counter power. It just doesn't logic to me. But that's gonna have to be okay. Yeah. All right. This Guild Tessero is really good. I don't know if it's a part of our package though, so we're going to avoid it. This Shiki is fine. I don't think he's worth running though. Trigger playable Scarlet, and we're good on that. I like this Z quite a bit. People don't realize that their thing is strike attribute until you swing at them and say, yeah, it's 11k, bro. He's quite good. I wish it was leader or characters, then this would be extremely good. And honestly, worth having no counter power in hand. Because, yeah, we noticed that. The -1 Dawn, just give him 2k power. It's all really good. This is not too dissimilar to like Red Purple Kid Leader. Like a very kind of similar play style with his ability, except it's a body in your deck. We're not going to use it though. This Douglas Bullet is just one keyword away from being playable, and that keyword is Rush. I would kill, if this was -4 Dawn, and this is exactly how it should have been worded for Z here, activate main once per turn. But again, we're going to ignore that. If this was, instead of double attack Rush, he would be played. But instead, we get a guy who's going to be dead on arrival. You're not going to activate as a main effect unless you've got an amazing board already. Okay, so we need the film 2k counter. I think we missed a film 2k counter earlier, which we could potentially add. It's another Shiki. The Shiki. Trust me, we've got a lot of balancing to do here before we actually get to playtesting. But again, I'll let you guys know that if you want to participate in the gameplay today, just let me know and I'll send you a link to our sim so that we can get some games in and give some thoughts in our own opinions, you guys as well, on the list and how it's performing. But I'll highly encourage you, if you're watching this and you're enjoying it, feel free to leave this video with a like. It does help us out a whole lot when you do so. Again, live streams on this platform, very weird right now, but I enjoy doing them, so that's why we're here. We've got 2 for 4 body, and we're off of the film package. So I'm going to ignore events outside of a handful of black events, because I don't really like any of the purple events for us. Yeah, nor stages. We don't need any of those. I do want to see if there's any cool film cards that we can incorporate. I was looking at this Uta earlier. You might have noticed. She's not good. She's not a good card, sadly. I think we can add the... We can add a few Great Eruptions and maybe like a few Ice Ages. I say a few. I'm putting a playset in here, but we will remove some cards in a few. Just want to make sure that we can go over 51. Not even Thunder Bagua. I like the trigger on Thunder Bagua. So here's my thing on 2 for 4k power events. When it comes to the late game and you see they have 2 Dawn active, if the list is red, it's likely a guard point or a radical beam. If the list is any other color, then you can potentially expect a 2 for 4. And some people are getting cheeky and starting to leverage like the 0 Dawn effects where you have to trash a card. Here it would be Gatling, right? So 2 for 4 is an okay rate. It's been the standard for a while. If I see that, what I generally do is just swing as much vanilla as possible and force them to use this. And in most cases, when they're trying to dodge those attacks, this needs to be supplemented with other things if I'm just going to Dawn up 7 or 8 Dawn in and swing at you, right? You can only get by with so much on this one event. I'm not sure I'm not sure that we're going to have Dawn open turn after turn. I think a lot of our Dawn is going to be spent on main effects, whether they be characters or these events, but we could incorporate defensive things if we felt like it was necessary for us. Like, we're using this kid. Yes, it works really cool with Blast Breath. Blast Breath being one of the best rates you can get for a card, but you have to go -1 Dawn. So you can sort of mitigate that by having this out. But then again, you know, that's relying on a thing that's in your deck and another thing that's in your deck. So I don't know. People did play this in that purple Luffy list I recommended earlier. I'm sure people are off it now, or they might still be on a handful. I'm not a huge fan of it. I forgot to mention Jean Bart. This is another card that we can use in a very similar fashion to Miss All Sunday. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take out Sunday. I know she draws, but I like the fact that Jean Bart is something that's playable off of Gecko Moria. I really like that. And I didn't add the laws. We have a lot of cards to cut. Trust me. But we're going to look over some black cards, any potential film cards, and of course, any other events that you guys want to incorporate that you think are worth playing. And, you know, I'll give you my opinions on them. If we all agree, though, that, you know, we need this type of event for whatever reason, obviously, I'll be happy to incorporate it and we can test it out. Makino, as they say in the live action. I always thought it was Makino. I could be dead wrong. She's really cool with Gecko Moria because... Hear me out. What's neat is that if we use her as a 2k counter in hand early on, because that's all she is, do not look at her for anything else. You're not going to play this card from your hand. But if you play her off Gecko Moria, it could be a potential draw engine in the late game. That's actually quite good. Because this list is so purple-centric, we're not going to rely on cards like Mansherry or Rebecca. Okay? Sorry, I had to break it to you at some point, but we're not. Rebecca's great. It's not for this deck, sadly. These are all starter package cards. They're okay. I actually really like this promo Morgan for a good while. 4 for 5, that does the thing, you know. It's not bad. I love this Perona. We do need other 2k counters, but I guess we have them all here. We could just rely on 8 for now. There's no film cards in any of this, so I'm just skimming through to see if there's any film cards, and then we can just discuss general utilities that are good. Yeah, I guess there's no film, because there's no film black cards. Is that crazy? Am I crazy? Okay. So the only other thing I feel like the list is missing right now is potentially more Dawn gain. Like, so we have Dawn here, we have Dawn here. They're both sharing the same slot. So I think this is where we can add in a few more utilities, and then this is where we can start cutting our deck down to size. I just want to see if there's any other thing we should add before we commit. I really do love this kid, but I have the tendency of adding it to too many damn decks. Like, I seriously I like playing this kid a lot, but I do it way too often. So I'm not gonna do that to myself. So this is a combo deck that's going to be relying on Gecko Moria clearly, and it's got a film base with a little bit of level reduction, an ability on our leader that cares about killing people, and a lot of blockers, right? So we have got 4, 8, 12, 16 blockers, 3 sets of which can be pulled back with our combo card here, right? Can they all Yeah, the Shikis, yeah. We've got Guild Tessero, who's going to help bring back a bulk of our film package. But our film package is kind of scant, if I'm being honest. Guild can bring back himself if he were 4. Sadly, he's not. But we can get Shiki, we can get Bueno Festa. 1, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 film cards. So there's enough to say that Guild is potentially worthwhile, but it's really just going to pull 2k counters and or ramp or this blocker. There's really not a bomb card we want to bring back from our bin, sadly. See, my guy loves to torture himself. Yeah, well, so Sean, you know, it would be all too easy to just build the latest hotness and then pretend like we made a good deck. But a lot of these packages have already been solved, so I want to focus on lists that are less played. So Z is one of those lists, let me tell you. I've also got a Perona in the works. Maybe we can play with some Perona. She's actually winning some tournaments, so that would be... I have a deck that's won a lot of games. I'm happy with it, but I wouldn't mind starting from scratch and working on something with you guys. I love Perona. I love the new Gecko Moria. This Uta would be really interesting to explore too, as a matter of fact. So potentially we do that. He don't ramp, but it will apply some pressure. Beppo could ramp. Yes. Sean knows what ramps in purple. So there's a Beppo, not the Beppo from the set, but the Beppo from the starter. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is greater than the number of... if your opponent's field is greater than your Dawn, then add 1 Dawn rested to from your cost area. Yeah, hell yeah. I like Beppo a lot. And it's a little weird, but I'm not really loving... So when I saw this guild from OP06, my thought was, you know, maybe we can utilize some of what Film has on offer, but I don't think that these are really valuable 2Ks in and of themselves. And I don't really like what the Film package has on offer outside of Shiki. This is actually a really good blocker outside of Film. But we've got an interesting mix. Is there a Heart Pirate Searcher in these colors? I don't know that there is. I like Beppo too. Yeah, so Beppo's good because it's going to be playable, if not on the play for its effect late game, and certainly off of Gecko Moria, but it's just better than Ein, right? And we're really only on her because of this Film subset. I think we can take out that. Let's get better 2Ks in the list. But I do want to focus on some ramp effects. Just make the most of our ability here. And we were mentioning Heat. I'm sorry, Heat don't ramp. Yeah, Heat's really good. I think Heat is actually a really solid card. So it's on the turn 2 playable, and then turn, 3, when you have a 5-drop, you'll hopefully hit one of your blockers. I don't know that we are going to get this effect too often outside of the late game is my only thing. Like if this were Magellan, I would say that it's way more playable, right? Is Magellan the one who negative dawns? No. But he'll have stuff to synergy with that more than we do. 3-drop law for Hard Pirates. You're absolutely right. This is, if your opponent has more Dawn cards in the field than you, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Is this the Searcher for now? Like, is this the Searcher? Or do they not have like a 1 or 2 drop that does the same thing? I completely forgot this Film card. Sorry, guys. You can use the Searcher event from OP05. Correct. We can use the on the sea there's pirates, I think is what it's called. When you're at sea, you fight pirates. I actually don't mind this. A lot of people don't incorporate this into their list because it takes up a slot. But the early game is generally just a bunch of Searchers anyways. Obviously, in lists like Sakazuki, where you have Houndblaze, those Searchers become rather volatile. And in decks like Zoro, those Searchers are volatile. Or in decks like Red-Green Law, those Searchers are fantastic. But it's because they're attached to a body, right? Here, it feels weird having to incorporate this, but it does hit a wide array of things if we're off the Film package, which I think we officially are at this point. I do want to keep Reiju. She seems really good. I think we'll be able to play her effectively. And I actually still like this film Uta. But for everything else, there's MasterCard. We may use that blocker. We may use that blocker law. I'm sorry, just the 3 for 5 law. The searcher law. We don't need a searcher, mind you. Like, it's not essential, but if we are in one core like subtyping, I like to have that consistency. I honestly think we can use this though to some good effect. I do think we can use when you're at sea. I don't know how many we actually run, but I do like incorporating that. And if there's any other additional ramp you guys can think of, let me know. It would be in purple. We don't need to look at black for any of this. Again, black is really just for the level reduction. There's even some other black level reduction we could incorporate, but those are the best ones. There's Soap Sheep. That's actually quite good if you're on Rob Lucci. It's not played, but it is actually a good event in my opinion. And I like the trigger on it too. Anything to put our opponents at a disadvantage is welcome in my book. We don't really need to look at any of these black cards though. We want the 1 cost ones because that's as much as we want to commit on a turn where we're having a negative Dawn. Although if we did play like a 4-drop that on play did the thing, or like Hina that on play did the thing, it's not bad. You know what's also funny? It's not played, and I'm not saying it's really good here either, but I really like this Shirahoshi. So let's just say that, you know, we play our Gecko Moria and run Shirahoshi out, or, you know, because we used her as a 1KC earlier in the game. Or we play Shirahoshi and we use Z's effect. Z will hit a 3 or less. Z will hit a 7 or less with Shirahoshi alone, right? So this is actually a really good body that could potentially play into some play lines that exist in the deck. And obviously is just a good vanilla play to use Dawn effectively and then neg the Dawn with Z. Is it amazing? No. People will obviously default to using Rebecca instead in the same slot, and then you just get more value. Obviously, because you're recovering a card, you're getting to play a card, you're manipulating Dawn much more effectively. But in much the same sense of, you know, our Hina here, we're getting to do -4 on the level, but instead of having a base attacker, we're getting a 1k counter and a blocker. I do like the Shirahoshi. She's, again, not played, not saying she's playable here, but I do want to potentially consider her. You do the searcher event, yep. 2 or maybe, yeah, 2 of maybe for the searcher event. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Okay. I want to put a ribbon on this one though. So let's go ahead and look up the rest of our package. We said maybe this law. It's on the attack. I don't think we use that law, but I do think we could probably call it a day with what we have here. We do need to add 2k counters though, some 2k counters. So let's add the best ones we can. And I'll tell you what, Suru is still one of the best ones. So far as our leader's effect is concerned, Suru's really good. Suru means that we can hit a 5 and under, and remember, 5 and under is going to hit all of those major blockers. And I think we want to incorporate, we don't have much removal in the body of this list, mind you. Just a lot of blockers. The other 2KC that you'll see run in competitive lists now is Virgo. He doesn't make sense here, but it is a naval card that you could tutor up. For some reason, I'm having trouble finding said Virgo, but trust me, it's a 2KC. It's right there. It's also a body you could potentially run out. I actually quite like One-Legged Soldier. I like One-Legged Soldier. I like One-Legged Soldier because it's just another thing that Gecko could pull out that level reduces, if not Suru, in that 2 and under. And it obviously synergies well with our leader. And we want as much level reduction as possible. So we're going to go down to 2 Ice Ages. I think we keep 2 of these. I think we run... Great Eruption's really good for filtering, but I gotta say, it's not absolutely necessary. Because again, we're not trying to see this early game. we're really trying to see it late game. So just the 1 early is fine, because level reduction is not going to be too relevant for any of our other things. There's really no synergies for it outside of our leader's effect. As a matter of fact, I could probably just take out all the Great Eruptions and leave it to 2 Ice Ages and just have these be our thing that level reduce. Although that seems like too few things that level reduce. Que sera. Yeah. I'm gonna say que sera to that. I don't want to do anything else. I think that this also level reduces and should be prioritized, but it's just a body we want to discard. I almost feel like the level reducers just need to be attached to bodies. It doesn't logic to have it attached to an event, because I would rather have the body that potentially does a thing and can be brought back than have an event that's just stuck in my hand until the late game. So yeah, never mind. We're going to ditch that. And then I think we're going to go Helmet Bow. Let's look at our curve. Yeah, yes, this is actually a full deck, but is it a balanced deck? Not necessarily. So turn 1 is looking like Suru or One-Legged Soldier. Let me just say, we don't really have a turn 1 outside of when you're at sea, you fight pirates. Oh, Tashigi for a 2K. Tashigi's fine. I just, I'm not super high on Tashigi. You know, she's generally used in like the current packages because she is Navy and you can brand new her out. But I don't like running her out, and I don't like activating her. It feels like a lot of commitment, where something like this is less Dawn commitment, is not too far off, you know, from it. This is repeatable value, so like long term you could potentially get more use out of this, but she'll usually die. Suru is just a better version of that, and I would say that One-Legged Soldier is better for us with Gecko Moria for working in tandem with our leader. And again, I don't know how many times we're actually going to use this effect, but I think that's it. That should be it. We can honestly build like just say this is it and play this. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm excited to find out. In an ideal situation, this Shiki is like a turn 1 play. That's it. I mean, it's fine if he drops early, and it's great if he drops late. So Shiki is going to be it. Turn 2. All of our things are 4 done. That's not good. All of our things are 4 done. So we really want to consider another blocker or something in that space that could ramp us. Ooh, we don't have any great plays on turn 2 unless we're off play. If I were to take something out, I would say that it would be Beppo. It would be Beppo, and then we need to do something with our 3 Dawn. And this is, again, only if we're on the play. Ulti is the first thing that's coming to mind that ramps us. That doesn't mean I like her. Do I ulti? Stop. Never. Never have I ever ultied. So speaking of good blockers, I mean, we could technically put Fukuro in here. Where is Fukuro? It's getting cold in my studio. If I start shivering, please send a tip so I can buy a blanket. Where is Fukuro? Where are you, my boy? Can you guys? There he is. There he is. He's a decent blocker in the 3 slot. We're really just trying to pad out our turns to get to the late game. This feels so bad, though. So far as 3 drops are concerned, we could potentially go with Hina just to have the body. Hina's not bad, folks. 3 for 5. Like, I've run her out just to have a body to swing with. Like, no effects. Happens a lot in Sakazuki, where it just doesn't hurt to play her. It might be that. It's just another thing that synergies with our leader. Sure. Okay, so with that, I think we're ready to try this. I do want to just cover very quickly what like our strategy should be from turn to turn. I think we can very quickly cover that, and then we'll set up some games. Does that seem fair? Obviously, this is just a blueprint like any other list we make on the channel. This is not what you should be playing necessarily, but it's something that you could build off of with some of the ideas that we've formed around said leader. At any rate, though, let's go ahead and minus effect 2. Which one has a minus effect? Oh, this Hina for level reduction. Yeah, it's not so bad. So turn 1, again, really ideally Shiki, and this is only if we're on the play. Turn 2, it could be any one of our 4-drops, and we have a myriad of great 4-drops. I'm going to say that Jean Bart is a 5-drop. We don't really want to play Jean Bart out unless we're doing his on play. And we can do that on turn, it would need to be 5 or 6 Dawn, so it would need to be turn 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It need to be either turn 3 on the play or off the play. But turn 2 should look like Trafalgar. It should look like Uta. It should like maybe Vinsmoke Reiju, but it's yet to be determined. And then Shirahoshi is there. It's going to be a repeatable engine with Gecko Moria, but it also works really well in tandem with Z. So our 5 to 6 Dawn turn should look like Eustace Kid and Jean Bart. That's really it. And then there's a few things we can combo out with as well, like just plays that we can do in addition to one another. Our 7 to 8 Dawn turn is our top end, and that's clearly Eustace Kid and or Gecko Moria. And I gotta say, if you have the opportunity to Kid first, like if it's 7 Dawn, use Kid. Use Kid. If both of these are in your hand, go for Kid first, change the combat math, merc a thing, pass. And then on your next turn, when you go from 6 to 8, you can play Gecko Moria, which will hopefully provide us with a plethora of options. And you'll notice Gecko pretty much hits everything. Shit, Gecko really just hits everything. This list is kind of contingent on hitting him. But, we can do Shirahoshi into a 1-legged soldier and level reduce a guy by 7 and then kill it if it's 3 or less. So we can literally Gecko Moria and kill their 10-drop with Shirahoshi and 1-legged soldier. And have a blocker. And have a 9k. And kill their biggest thing. Mind you, this puts us down to 4 Dawn. But everything else is playable at 4 Dawn. Right? So I have high hopes for this. I don't know how well it'll actually play, but I'm very curious to see. Guys, if you want to play against me, please let me know in the comments. If you have the sim uploaded, I'd be happy to play with you guys. And you can play test whatever your favorite list is. It could be something that's meta for OP06, meta for OP01, whatever the heck you want to play. I'm happy to play against it. But feel free to holler whenever you're ready with that. I am going to put up, just to cover the comments, I'm going to put this up and we'll play OP06. Okay, get some Z going. Oh my god. The moment we've been waiting for. I am really, really excited to try this. I hope it's mediocre. I hope it's subpar. Because I don't really have too high hopes for this guy, but I think it'll work. And it should at least help us answer the question whether you should be buying Zephyr now, the AA version. Is it really worth it? Boys, probably not. To be honest with you. Oh, Yamato, big mistake, girl. You should have played against another deck. Is this hand keepable? I'm going to say, yeah, that's right. I got a gut feeling that we're going to get a lot of DCs, but I think with this hand, we would have kicked their ass. I wish we could have seen their shit. But we would have hit a blocker off of one of these two things, and then our 4 Dawn turn would have been said blocker, hopefully Law, and make them discard too. Like she would have been bushwhacked. I like that start so much. Hopefully we can get a game in against someone who's not a coward. That's all I hope. That's all I hope for us. But that hand was so good. It's also annoying when you get people that DC just because they don't get to choose the turn order. I get that so much. People really love starting off play for the free draw, and a lot of decks really need the additional draw. Let's see if this guy sticks. We'll see. We'll see. We need to go second here. This start is not as good as last time, and I kind of want to see some... There we go. You know why this start is good? We've got 2 of these freaking laws. Sorry, guys. Okay, my go. This is amazing. We don't have any good turn 1 plays here. It would be Shiki, but we don't have that. So we're going to Z up, pass. We'll counter out here, by the way. That's really what Suru is going to be best for at this moment. Sure. So we've got a body to drop, and I think we're going to drop Reiju. And we'll drop the Suru here too. We're going to break parity by playing the Law. Mind you, it does set us back, but that's going to have to be okay. See, I kind of wish we had Shiki earlier, but que sera. You have to use the card action when you attack. This is going to get very old to have to do, but we'll do this. So use the card action, we'll return this. They get to drop 2. We'll pass. I'm honestly okay just blocking with this Law too. We're going to let Whitebeard kill himself. That's really, for us right now with what we're doing, we really just need to let Whitebeard kill himself. I would prefer to keep the blockers till the late, so we'll leave it for now. The common Rushbeard package for OP06, like this is its curve and it's hitting it pretty gloriously. Again, you know, it's a rare opportunity where we have the potential to block, so we may as well get it in there. I don't want to take too many hits on one go. We're going to keep doing the same thing though. We're going to want to break down this Luffy, so we're going to do that. We only have the ability to go... We can do the kid, yes, right? We can do the kid and that puts us off. If we do kid, we have the ability to go Eustace Kid next turn. This is really bad for us though, because we don't have any 2K potential. But I think that this is sadly the best play. We're going to take a lot of hits here. This is going to get through. Whitebeard's probably going to get through. We're going to take minimum... I'm assuming there's another Rusher in hand. So we're going to take minimum of 3 damage here. Hopefully we pull some 2KCs and no more Hinas. Oh my god! It's gonna be the 4th fucking Hina. You just wait. You just wait. Okay. Well, boys! Just got fucked. I swear the RNG for this game, the sim, is so fucked. That didn't feel like... I don't know. I feel like I needed a pile shuffle. If I saw that shit, I would definitely feel like I needed a pile shuffle. We're out. We're definitely gonna lose. We did not curve properly. The best thing we can do is stop shit, but he's gonna don this up and just swing big. So there's no sense in any of this. What we really need to do is kill that Luffy, and the best way we can do it is by playing a Hina. So we can like play a Hina, play a blocker, play a Hina, play a blocker. Sure. Yeah, we're gonna use this and get rid of this, make them ditch 2 cards. All that's important here is that we can swing at least 6 into our opponent, at least 7 into our opponent. We can swing into the Portgast, but really we just need to do this, use the card action. 1, 2, 3, 4, kill this. So this is a little bit of self-preservation, but let me be frank with you. He probably has another Luffy in hand. So that was literally the best we could do with the hand we were dealt. I gotta say, you know, our draws could have been a little bit better. This is fine. It's only fine because we have some counter power here, but I don't think we have enough counter power. So obviously we're only going to take the hits we have to. And sadly, I don't think we have enough counter power. So it's going to be 7-7, and then you can go up to 8. So we need at best right now to just do this, this, this. He's holding events potentially. There's no reason we shouldn't block at this point. It's all about self-preservation. And that's it. So these geckos would have been so great in a different game. We could potentially win here if he takes this, which he won't. If for some reason he took this, we would want to Dawn up completely because he's holding a guard point or some shit. Like, you know, it's this play is symbolic, really. Okay. So he could be holding a rad beam and it's completely done. I want you to see my hand. How fucking whack my hand was. Yeah, enjoy that. All right, so not the best show. Okay, not the best first showing. I don't think we did bad. I think the game against the person who DC'd would have been so much cleaner, but that's okay. We're going to hopefully find another hand that's as good as that. I will go second. I will keep this. This is fine. This new Tashigi is so good, guys. It's been so necessary. Like, brand new is fine, but if you look at Tashigi with Houndblaze, it's so freaking good. But yeah, Tashigi herself, and she doesn't care about the color of the card, unlike those Impel Down Searchers, which make no fucking sense. Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna look. We're gonna find just the one thing, I guess. Put those back at the bottom, and we will Dawn up. He can just triple up and attack with Tashigi and attack with Sakazuki, which I think is the play. There's I guess he could play brand new from his hand as well, run an event, but really it might make the most sense to either just play. Oh, okay. We don't have 2Ks outside of this, so we might as well go this. She's out of range to do any damage to us this turn, so I'm fine with this. Yeah, he wanted to brand new. I mean, this is just a weird advantage. I feel like it might have been better to swing the Tashigi, but maybe there's a play in here. We've got a amazing blocker that will level reduce something. We've got Reiju, who's not quite playable at the moment. Sadly, we are probably just going to play one of these Jean Barts. Probably just going to play a Jean Bart just to get it out of hand. Gives them something to do. I honestly don't hate just running out the Shirahoshi here too, because truth be told, like when we get to the Gecko Moria turn, it's going to be just as well. So I don't mind letting this soak up some damage early and then die, or be the target of removal here. Like if he uses removal on it, it's totally fine as well. The only issue is it's not going to be a Gecko Moria target if it gets hit by something in the bottom decks her. That could hurt. Look at you. Look at you with your attacks. Yeah, we'll get rid of one of these things. It's going to be the Reiju, I think. It'll be the Reiju. Because I want to bring it back with Gecko Moria. Look at you. Look at you. We're going to do this. Okay. Well, we don't really have anything for 2 Dawn. It would have been really cool to have our Shiki, but we're off of that. We can kill one of these, but I honestly love seeing him Dawn these little shits up, so I'll leave him. I would rather he use his Dawn to do this and me just get some damage in than, like, there's no way he would use Dawn. Like, there's no way he would use Counterpower to keep these things alive. They're irrelevant. Borsellino can come down and nix my John Bart. You know, hopefully they don't have it. They should be looting, or rummaging, I should say, the first thing every turn. It's just what you do. You just rummage. You just do that. Just play the card. Play the card effect, excuse me. Give yourself the most advantageous hand and then start your turn. But he clearly has a decent hand. I think it's really him suffering from this dilemma of whether or not I should just go and play the Borsellino. I'm fine with these things going sideways. It just means that there clearly wasn't a better play in hand. We'll ditch the Shirahoshi as well. Borsellino, I don't know if you need to turtle up against me. I don't know if you do, but I like seeing it. We're going to go for the Law, obviously. These go to the bottom of my deck in any order. Yeah, we'll go for the Law. That's great. Okay, so we've got options. Z can't kill Borsellino, sadly, on the opponent's turn, but we can definitely ram him with some attacks here. Obviously, at this point, you know, we've got little combos in our grave here. Truth be told, I would rather Gecko Moria into the other Jean Bart and use his effect, and then also get the three-legged, or one-legged soldier, three-legged soldier. I'd rather get the three-legged soldier. And then we can do the Eustace Kid thing later. I like all of these things. I think it just makes the most sense to play this out. I think we can survive another turn here, potentially. We'll see. But we'll do this. We could also just, you know, the Reiju would have been really great if we used Z's ability, but we can't really use Z's ability and then Reiju out of the grave, sadly. So we're going to go ahead and use this John Bart. We'll play this three-legged boy. I'll use his effects to add a Dawn. Oh, we've got a Dawn going for us. Let's go ahead and swing 6k. We could just swing 6k into lead and kill one of these two things with his ability. If we go down to 6, we go up to 8 next turn. What the hell. Sure, maybe we just kill brand new with the effect and we go up 6 to 8. Is that weird? I like it. That's the only attack this turn. He can use Tashigi to swing into one-legged soldier, and I'm fine with that. This is definitely coming down next turn, if not the Law. I think the Law would be really good if we just want to turtle up. As a matter of fact, our 8 Dawn turn can look like Shirahoshi and Law. And depending on what they drop, like if it's a 7 drop, again, I've been saying this Borsellino can very well come down, the 7 cost Borsellino. And if it does, then Shirahoshi into Law makes just a lot more sense. We can also play the Reiju with the Law, right? So we get to do this and draw 2 cards. That's amazing. I think that either one of those two things makes sense. It just depends on whether they give us a target for Z or not. So we've got plenty of options with what's in my hand. I don't think that this kid makes the most sense right now. All right, so they're going to do some hard work here to try to double down and remove 2 things. I don't really know. Between what's happening, though, I feel like if I'm going to read between the lines, I'm not expecting a big body. So I feel I can get rid of Shirahoshi and probably just keep this Reiju to draw some cards. I definitely do have less Dawn than my opponent. So there's no blocks, obviously. We'll get rid of the Hoshi, sadly. Anything else we'll have to take, so... And truth be told, like, as soon as we drop this Law and we make them discard their hand, we're going to be in a much better spot for all of these attacks. Like, I'm okay with, yeah, exactly. So this is, like I was saying, reading between the lines, it looks like they're going to go wide with a Raw Belushi. They're just trying to set it up now. Right now, there's two drops, so they're clearly doing some mental arithmetic to figure out how to bring this down further. It's really not that difficult. Probably just a Suru. Or Rebecca would be kind of sweet, but then you really couldn't play the Lucci at this point because of your brand new play. I don't know what their hand looks like. This seems like a lot of gymnastics, though. Was there a nope, that wouldn't have even worked. There's a Suru in the grave, though, so they could have Rebecca. If they didn't do what they just did, they could have Rebecca and Lucci. No, they need 8 Dawn. They might have messed up their maths. Let's hope. And then they just kill the 3-legged beast and John Bard instead. Nah, it's going to be Gecko and this. Or just keep it. Just keep it because he is upset. I'll take turn. All right. Wow, we've got options, people. So we could kill Lucci very clearly if we wanted to with Hina, but I don't think that makes sense. I do think it makes more sense to get some draw in, but we're just 1 Dawn behind them, so we could do this, have 5 lesser cards in hand and draw 2 cards and see our options. I still like the idea of running out our Law, though, to make them discard down. And we could even play Uta at this point, right? I kind of like all these things. And then we can do Kid later if we last around. We need blockers for sure. So it wouldn't hurt us to go... Let's go... Reiju. Okay. If I run out the Shiki, I get the ability to loot, and then I can see more of my deck and have another blocker, and then still have the potential to attack with 2 things before I go off on my turn. Or we could run the Hina out, and I can have my boy kill a thing. It wouldn't hurt to kill this Lucci, because he's never going to swing with this Borsellino. It's just a sad fact. His deck is clearly not that aggro. This gives us the option to ram our boy into him. So let's do this. Let's do this. Hit this. We'll Dawn up. We'll swing. We will use the card action. I don't know what 1 cost if any is running, but he could do it. I don't know. There's the smoke cloud or whatever. Okay, cool. So now with a free board, like, there's no reason we shouldn't do this. I'm going to keep the 1-legged soldier as long as I can. Yes, we could have used that instead of Hina, but we've got all these bodies that can swing into him next turn. I think he realized his mistake here. Tapping the Borsellino was fine for keeping it alive, but now you're going to be just subject to all this shit. So, of course, I'm going to ram you with these. Our next turn, though, is looking pretty dim because we only have 6 Dawn to work with. So we're really going to rely on this Hina, this Reiju, and this Z to finish off the board. We're never going to get past this Borsellino with his effect. So this was the best opportunity we could get in. And he's going to need to start committing this to attacks because he needs to do damage. We have a lot of counter power in hand, so I feel pretty solid. But he's on his 10 Dawn turn next turn, so, you know, I'm happy we got rid of the Lucci, but I'm not... to be frank, I still don't think we have this in the bag yet. It really depends on his plays. Turtle up some more, why don't you? Yeah, keep the Borsellino and turtle up some more, please. We have this Law, which is probably our next play, unless they have more than... Is it 7 or more? Is it 7 or more cards in hand? My God. All right, we'll see what happens. That Law is not playable, but this Uta is playable, and this Kid is playable. I think Uta is not going to be long for the world, though, if I run her out. But it might be good to go Shiki Uta if we survive, and just use these as our fodder. He held onto that Borsellino for a minute. We're probably going to go Uta, Shiki, 1-legged soldier something away, and then use Z to kill it. I gotta say, the game against Whitebeard was kind of screwed. Like, we pulled so horribly, but we're pulling much better now, and it's all working reliably well. I've got my one-legged soldier to threaten him. I think it would be advisable to use Rob Lucci to get rid of this next time. Or I guess he couldn't because it is a 2-drop. Oh, he's screwed. Yeah, he could have... okay. I need a jacket is what I need. I'm frigid in here. But hopefully this game is entertaining for you guys. I'm enjoying myself. It's nice to see Z do a thing. I think we have him somewhat on the ropes. Like, I don't know what his best play is here, so he needs to think about going wide. He wants to go 2K over. I'm totally fine with this. I'm going to have to be. He can do Lucci to potentially kill these two things. He's not going to go... Let's see if he goes 1K over. I can let one of these die. I fully suspect these two Jean Barts to die. So I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I don't want to ruin our next turn, though, by removing any cards from our hand outside of Law and the Kid. Oh my gosh. I just hope the one-legged soldier lives. That's all I care about. I need the one-legged soldier to live. The other thing we can do is potentially ram him and see if he takes the life. And then if he goes... see, Houndblaze. Okay. So Houndblaze is going to get rid of her. Right. You need to do that. So this is what I was talking about. He can go... Well, I mean, I could also just hit him with a one-leg soldier if need be. So if you guys do the math, I could swing Reiju vanilla, I can swing Z vanilla. He'll have to block here, not vanilla, 6K, 6K. And then I'll have 4 Dawn open. No, I wouldn't have enough. Yeah, I need to keep the Jean Bart alive. It's going to be here and here. Oh, I wish I had a 2K. I'm going to make him commit that Borsellino and Tashigi. 100%. He's holding something at 7, which is probably the Borsellino. Like, at this point, just play the fucking card. Because if you do, it's a good play. It's a very good tempo play. There's nothing wrong about playing it right now. I have 3 cards in hand. Play the card. Keep your blocker up. Be smart. Don't don these up. I think they are looking to do that, but they did ditch a Borsellino earlier. They also ditched a Gecko. With as much effort as they put in to remove my Gecko Moria, you'd think they would know to play their own Gecko Moria. Because they have a Rob Lucci setup here with Suru. But it would have only hit like one thing still. You get the body at least. You get a 9K and a 6K. Yeah, kind of expected this. All right. We're going to get rid of the Shiki because it's better if we just keep the Uta. If he goes with the Borsellino, like 6K with Borsellino, which he knows we don't have a 2K in hand, he would get there. But I don't think he's bold enough to attack with the Borsellino. No, he's not. Okay. All right, so we get to Merca Rebecca, and then we get to swing with a few things. The Hina is just a body at this point. Yeah, okay. They've got 4 cards in hand, 1 blocker. I have 3 attacks, but I only have 6 Dawn. They're in a better spot. Like by all means, they're in a better spot. I just pulled this Law again. Sadly, it's not very valuable to us here, but because of the setup, I can level reduce her ass, get rid of this blocker. He has the 1 Borsellino. I just need to swing 6, 6, and 6. Minimally. I need him to fuck up here, is what I need to do. He's going to be 6 off of the -4. This will be 6, and this will be 6 off of the remaining 2. So we play Uta, right? We play Uta. We use this to level reduce this. We swing here. Let's swing. I don't know if he has any events that could do anything, but it has to be done this way, sadly. We'll swing here. We'll use the card action. We'll return 1, 2, 3, 4 Dawn, and we'll get rid of her. So, depending on what he has in hand, He may block here, he may not, but he's looking at 3 attacks. I have 2 life. He really should have been a little bit more aggro. Like, I've not seen a Sakazuki turtle up this badly before. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked because somehow Z is the aggressor right now. I'm like super happy for that shit. Yes, our plays are very obvious, sir. Here's the thing. If we don't get it, then I think we just use John Bart to kill like a Hina or a brand new. Obviously he has like the potential to counter out. And he has a blocker. So you, audience, tell me, does it make sense to swing with the John Bart? If I swing with the John Bart, he'll block with the Borsellino and counter out at this point. Do I give him another body to kill, or do I keep this as a potential attacker later? Say we keep it as a potential attacker later. Now, mind you, he could just have the removal in hand. So we'll see. But I'm kind of stoked that he just took the damage, because as it stands, I need to get in with at least 1 attacker, and I should have 2 next turn. But if you're really looking, I only got 4 done to dick around with. So we're not in a good place whatsoever, folks. Like, whatsoever. So the turtling was effective. Hopefully we do draw into what we need, but I think he could have clinched this if he just played a little bit more aggressively. Like, if he's got a Gecko Moria in hand, now may be the time, but like when I play Gecko Moria, I actually play for certain combos and I'm just not seeing them. Just kill the Uta. Stop. Just kill the Uta. Wait, what? Whoa, 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 whoa. What? So when he level reduced, he only level reduced... What? I'm so confused. Did he do Ice Age as well? Oh, okay. I didn't see the Ice Age, because it looked like it said level reduction by 2. So if you're looking, we can keep the Reiju alive, but I don't think there's any sense in it. I mean, we need it around, and we'll need him to commit to attacking with these other things. So he can go 2 up, he can go 3 up, or he can just swing the Borsellino. This is fine. We need to let her die, sadly. Didn't think you'd get this far, did you? We'll take it. We need to get a Uta to stick. Is this a Rebecca? Borsellino. Go fuck yourself. What is this? We're gonna go, I think we just go Uta again. The reason being, you know, we can use Uta later to, yes, we could use the ability to kill a thing, but now is not the time. We're gonna use Uta, pass. We only have 1k counter in hand. We don't have this anymore. We don't. The turtle strategy worked. Lucky them. They got all the Borsellinos they needed. Shit. But we were really close. I don't feel bad about how this deck performed here. If we kept the Gecko Moria, it would be a different story. If we drew into another Gecko Moria, it would have changed plays drastically. Like, I would have loved being able to turtle up myself at a certain point. So this is interesting. We could just Uta. So if you're looking at this, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks. So we can counter out of this. He's never swinged a Borsellino yet. I think he will. Why? Just lead with this. Lead with this. What are you doing? I have 2 cards in hand. I have 3 cards in hand. What are you doing? Why don't you just lead with this? Oh my God. You're taking too long. Okay, they get it. They definitely get it. Oh my God. Oh. All right, that was insufferable. I have a Sakazuki. I normally play Sakazuki, so I've got opinions on how it should be played. But Z, we'll get one more game in. But do I think it's playable? Yes. Do I think it's good? That match, that last match-ish. I like what it does. I don't know that... Oh, sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, do you understand why I said lead with that? When you have 2 KO-proof blockers and I have only 1 body online that can attack, and purple and black are notoriously bad for rushers, what is the expectation? I have 4 Dawn next turn, or 6 Dawn. Oh my god. Okay. We're here. We're back. I don't know if the Hinas are the best grab, although I liked the level reduction on bodies. It came to the point where we almost had too much level reduction. So I think the Hinas could be removed and we could swap in... Jean Bart was never playable on curve the way I wanted him to be. We were never able to play the 7-cost kid the way I wanted to either. So I feel like we could play a different top-end curve than the kid. The kid's not bad. Kid's not bad, trust me. He's actually fairly decent, but we hit 0 2K counters. We really just hit the soldier. We didn't hit too many 2K counters. This deck might need them. But this is a list that should be turtling up, and I feel like we were pretty hard aggro there. Like, I got rid of any of the cards that would have been more defensive. Is this gameplay of CG any good? Is the gameplay of this CG any good? This card game any good? Yeah, I would say the depending on your matchup and like who you're playing with, games can get very tense. Like that last one did last a while. I think he could have clinched it much sooner though. But you know, we're playing Z, so I'm happy that it was a threat enough for like the what we saw. When you attack, if you have less Dawn than your opponent, give one of your opponent's characters. The gameplay is fun though. It's gotten more consistent. It could be very swingy, or it used to be very swingy with previous sets. It really depended on, there was a rock, paper, scissors aspect where it felt like certain matchups were just going to be bad for your list. Whereas there's less of that now. Understanding your play lines and obviously hitting your curve is still important. I'll state that the mulligan system in this game can hurt you because it's you see 5, then you drop 5, and you see a new 5, which could mean you find your perfect starting hand, or you just get left with a worse hand, you know? And what do they call it? RNG. Sometimes you just hit like dumb shit repeatedly, but that's all about deck construction. It's the same with any other TCG. Although I gotta say, pulling 3 Hinas in a row, our first game with Whitebeard, was awful. We should not have died as quickly as we did. Blocker, I mean, if you want to turtle more. The Porcelino blocker, if I want to turtle more, no. I want to attack more. No, I like that Porcelino a lot. Can I build a Mink tribe deck that is viable? That is a video for another time. I would actually like to try that myself. This Robin's actually good, by the way. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, up to one of your opponent's characters with 3 or less, KO one of your opponents. Actually, this Orobi with we don't have any of the level reducers that are 2 and under outside of Suru, but this Orobi with Suru would be kind of sick even off of the Kikomoria. I would say I've been wanting to try a Mink tribe list Drax, so I want to get back to answering that at a future date. But I don't know, you know, by viable, I would say that there's really little support for animals, you know, like any of the chopper builds. There's little support for animals. There's little support for Mink tribe. There's little support for a few tribals. Right now, they seem to be focusing on Navy pretty heavily. The only thing that comes out from 06 that people really like to play, though, is the new Tashigi, which you saw, the one-drop Tashigi. But I would say give it a whirl and then try it on here to see if you enjoy the play style. What's more important is that you, like with any TCG, that you're enjoying yourself. So see if you enjoy the play pattern and then take it to your locals. But I don't know, if it's going to win a nationally ranked game. Those spots are usually reserved for a select few list. There are just decks that are a little bit more consistent. Sakazuki is very consistent. It shouldn't have any troubles early to mid to late. But I want to take out the 7 cost kit as our top end, and I want to take out the other card that I don't even remember, Hina. We're going to stick to Shira. I actually really liked Shirahoshi. Like, I really like Shirahoshi. Even if she just ETBs and does nothing, like, it's fine, because we expect to get her back later with Gecko Moria. The combos are in tandem with our leader, so it's actually kind of sick being able to do that. I actually really like doing Shirahoshi. You can play Shirahoshi out and then Shiki out and have 2 blockers. One has to be tapped. There's some cool shit here, though. This Urobi is actually really sick, though. I don't mind this. I don't know if we needed any more ramp necessarily, but, ulti is still an option. I said it earlier. I don't like saying it again, but she is an option. Oh, this one right here. We saw very few 2K counters, but we saw so many of our no-case counters, and there's really just the kid and just this Gecko Moria, though, which is insane. I almost feel like we should add the queen blockers. Like, I don't mind going negative Dawn for that. And maybe we keep mana up for events, or Dawn, I should say, but to be honest with you, I don't know what events I really want to run out. I was trying to keep things 4 and under for the most part, but I think we can go 5 for kid, 5 for queen, and then we can look at a separate top end that is potentially playable within kid, straw, or heart. Or anything. And honestly, it could be anything, because Gecko Moria obviously breaks that mold quite a bit. I don't see us playing beyond 8 drops, though, so let's not think that highly. I wish this Crocodile worked for us, and this Uta is not going to work for us. Honestly, don't mind this. I don't mind this poly. Right, this poly is actually really effective for us. We could just try poly and go from there. We're not going to use Rob Lucci. We need KO on a body. You notice that the issue we suffered that game, and we're playing something very atypical right now. But the problem you notice is that we didn't have anything to just remove the lesser bodies that were on the field. And to be honest, I liked that fact because it did make them commit to weird attacks that you wouldn't normally do and cause them to not hit their curve with whatever their hand was, which was probably like a Lucci that they had stocked up. Their Lucci never hit 2 things at one time, which is very rare to see. With your leader, you should always pretty much be able to do that with the deck construction. But again, we were very fortunate. Those games were very weird. We can rest our leader to KO something that's 1 or less. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I think we do go for the poly. It is probably one of the better body / removal pieces, and it happens to be ramp for us. Poly is going to cost 7 Dawn to do this, so it's taking up the same space as our kid. And I don't mind this so much. Oh, if you have 8 or more Dawn in play. Is that accurate? Jesus. All right, well, fuck you, Poly. So we need 7, go up to 8. And then next turn we have 10. Let's try this. Let's see, this is the new Z. So guys, if you want to play against this list or sample it yourself, just let me know. Again, the list is on screen for you. I would say that this is potentially its final form for now. Let me know what you think would be a good alternative to whatever is in here currently. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think would make a good substitute for this deck. You'll notice the strengths and weaknesses I did as well. It's like when I ran out the Utas against Sakazuki, I fully expected them to be removed. I didn't see the Ice Age. It looks like it said -2 and then -2. He actually did Lucci 2 things that game, but I did not see the Ice Age get run out with the Suru. But that's okay. Let's try this one more time, and then we'll know for sure whether it's worth buying an AAZ. And again, like, just because this list isn't working as effectively doesn't mean there isn't a version that wouldn't work. So, blue Luffy. All right, this should be interesting. I'm hearing more and more people play this deck. The only reason I like this hand and the only reason I'm considering it is that we have Gecko Moria on the start here, which is really good for us. And the Reiju is something that we're going to discard, but we don't have any other good playables, so I'm going to ditch this. This is worse and what we're keeping. So let's go. Hey, Shiki, actually. 2 Shikis. And we'll pass. This Luffy's really interesting, though. There's a lot of, like, promo cards, if I'm not mistaken, you want to run in it. Or you go Animal Kingdom. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Sure. I'll get rid of, probably get rid of the Hoshi. Does this 5 or lower? Sure. I think we just ditch the Hoshi here, right? Or play the Hoshi. We got all the Hoshis for days, boys. All right, we're not less dawn than our opponent yet, but we're going to swing vanilla here. We're not going to do anything with that. I will play a Shira Hoshi. Do that. Turn. So at the end of battle on your turn and an opponent's 5 cost or lower oh, okay, that's so confusing. This is really interesting what's going on. So he's I've built this blue fee before. It operates okay. I'm curious to see how they conclude the game with their particular list. But we could probably go for, I don't know, we can go for Kid here, or we can go for Jean Bart and just keep ramping. It's not too useful. If we ramp out right now, we'll be at 7 dawn for turn. Yeah, I could just swing. Yeah, let's go. We're not going to use the card action, I don't think. There's nothing saying that we shouldn't, but there's nothing saying that we should with this board state. So we'll just swing vanilla and be good with that. This is a really interesting tempo deck, though, I'm seeing. You know, I'm expecting like a Zeph or like a Sogeking, I guess now. Sogeking is at 7, if I'm not mistaken. Or that. 3, is there 3 dawn on you? Okay. There's no reason we should counter out of this. We need 2 2Ks and we don't have 2 2Ks, so I'm like chill taking this. 2 2Ks now. This list is really weird. So the resource system is somewhat reminiscent of Hearthstone. I played Hearthstone years ago. Maybe someone else can answer that question. I'm not, I can't quite state as much. I really wish we had Gecko Moria. I really want to show him the power of Gecko Moria, but we're not there, boys. Let's go, I guess Shirahoshi, and just nuke this guy, right? Or just like Shirahoshi, because it needs to be 3 or fucking less. We can't go Shirahoshi by herself and kill this guy, so we'd have to do double Hoshi. Although I would really prefer to go Hoshi and Eustace Kid here. So we could do that. Thank you, by the way. Let's go Hoshi. I kind of want to do this Kid, just get it online. And then we can kill the Who's Who minimally. But we can kill the Who's Who, and then we can play out Vinsmoke Reiju. He can bottom this or whatever at this point. So let's do that. Let's go attack. Let's do this. Use the card action. Oh, I forgot. I have Queen to play now. No? Yeah? Is that not how your 3000 Worlds works? Were you thinking about it? Feels like you were thinking about it. We're gonna use Queen. I would rather use Queen and just have double blockers. Trash a card. One of these polys. I'll pass. Yeah, the Z's ability is just okay, I'm not gonna lie. 6 or less characters. Alright. I'm a little irked by this list. I don't really know what it's doing, but it's cool. Okay. Draw, Dawn. We're low on Dawn, so we could technically use the girl to draw 2 cards and then just smack them. Smack them. Or we can use Shirahoshi and kill this thing, right? No, not really. We could use it with this, but we can't with this. We can go poly, but there's no reason to poly. I would rather just use this. Draw 2 cards. Oh man, we're so close to just smacking them with the law. I really wish we could do that. And I also wish we had Shiki, but we've got plenty of ways to counter out still. So I think we just go 7 over and then use this. Okay, still a 2 for 1, so I still like that. Oh, no fucking hits. Oh, shit. All of our 2Ks in a row. We need to assess, like, if there are enough targets for when at sea there will be pirates or whatever. Is this a 10 cost Kaido turn? Get the fuck out of here. We're going to get rid of... I mean, if it is, then we play this law regardless, but we'll get rid of one of these Reijus and you can do the thing. How predictable. My God. Okay. Oh, whoa. Yes. I really wish we had our 5 cost law still, but 5 cost kid, excuse me. But this is great. Also, we've got ways to kill this Kaido potentially later. I think we do minimally this. You're going to lose all those cards you just draw, my guy. We're going to do this. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Let me just look at what you discarded, actually. Okay. I don't fucking... These are some weird cards. Oh, the Gum Gum Red Rock is decent, though. He probably has another one of those 7 cost events, though. That was such an oddity. I want to kill this Kaido, but this is not the turn for that. So we're just going to go 6k over, I guess. I mean, this is the first opportunity we've had to actually attack with a character, so we'll do that. Use 3,000 worlds doesn't work that way. It's a Red Rock, you get me. I think. Look at Red Rock really quick. 4 or less, right? Yeah, okay. Ooh, such a tough choice. Yeah, green yellow Yamato is pretty sick. Does this mean it also dies or no? No, it stays, right? You just okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's such a weird play. I don't know why who's who here. Just hit me. You could have just donned this up and hit me. Start threatening my blockers. I don't know. Dragon Twister. I fucking don't remember what Dragon Twister does. Dragon Twister is... I don't know where Dragon... He doesn't have one in his grave. Only take the damage you have to, baby boys. We're gonna do that. That's how 3,000 worlds works. He keeps looking at the trigger. He keeps looking at the trigger. All right. I want to take this because I want to play Shirahoshi and this, but that brings you down to 6. Oh, fuck off. I'm telling you, man, when I said this needs to hit 4 or less, it really needs to hit 4 or less characters. It's such a bullshit effect. Oh my God. You can tell how I feel about it. You could definitely tell how I feel about it. So stupid. Well, we pulled the Shirahoshi off life, so that's cool. Yeah, we'll do that. Here. There. This attack. Yes, I see your Dragon Twister. I see your fucking Dragon Twister. Can you just cast it so I can see what it does, please? Bottom of 1 or lower. Thank God. Oh, okay. I gotta tell you guys, Z's ability for only hitting 3 or less is such bullshit. -4 Dawn to kill, not bottom, kill a 3 or less and plus 1k power is such a shit rate. It is not good. That is so bad. I'm about to swing all these Shirahoshis at you, bro. Play a blocker or bounce one of them. But if you Dawn up this guy, You're out. You're so out. I'm gonna fucking swing all these blockers at you. Wait for it. I think they still have more Dawn than me. They do have more Dawn than me. So I can draw 2 cards off Fin Smoke as well. But I do think that I'm just gonna go balls to the wall and swing either we'll see. We'll see. I would love to get another blocker law. This has been such a weird matchup, I gotta say. Okay, so we're at 5 Dawn. We can be at 8 Dawn next turn if I just use Poly, and I can use this. We're at 8 Dawn next turn with Poly, and I kill one of these potential attackers, or I kill their blocker. I don't think they have a blocker. I don't know. I like the Rage You play a lot, though. I like the Rage You play a whole lot. I think we keep the Poly, obviously, as our play for next turn. I'll take a life. Yeah, I'll take a life now. Okay, so they've got another Dragon Twister, right? Oh, okay. So I think we just kill that, right? And then we play Poly to kill the other one. There's no need for the Suru. I guess I could have dawned up. All right, use your 7K thing to bounce my stuff to the bottom of my deck. Let's go. Let's see it. This game has been weird. I hope you're enjoying this game. This has been such a weird game, man. I've not seen this version of Blue Luffy, but normally there's like those promo cards in it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Play your 10 cost Kaido, I guess. Like, sure. I guess I get rid of the Jean Bart here. It would have maybe been better to just like block, but yeah, sure, I'll get rid of the John Bart. 10 cost Kaido, 10 cost Kaido, 10 cost Kaido. Oh, so lame. This is not the play. This is not the play. You put yourself off of another attack. Oh, there's 2. Okay. We can kill this guy if we wanted to. If we really wanted to. But do we? So if I play Shirahoshi, and then I play Eustace Kid, and then I play Suru, I could attack and kill this guy. Oh, this is so weird. I need Gecko Moria from my deck so bad. Like, you have no idea. I feel like I would have closed this out if I had Gecko Moria. All right, I kind of want to kill this guy just because he's annoying me. So maybe we do that. Yeah. Yeah. Just because he's annoying me. And I have the opportunity to play out my whole hand, so why not? Let's go! Dragon Twister me, bro. Dragon Twister me, bro. Oh, you're looking for solutions? Here, let me do this one. Okay. You've got 4 blockers to deal with. Play your 10 cost Kaido. Do it. Oh, please do it. Or just let me top deck freaking Gecko Moria. Please. Like ages ago. I want to pull from my grave so bad. There's so much cool shit we can do. Actually, Gecko Moria off of this turn would be so sick. At this point, if he doesn't play a blocker, I'm just donning up Z like all the fucking way. Which was probably advisable there, but like him taking the life was so clutch. Drax, yes. Yeah. The answer is yes, Drax. The 99 was a name that was exclusively for the commander format in Magic the Gathering, right? That's just that's Oh, Gekimoria. Wait, there's plays now. Wait. Oh, I'm beside myself. Wait, Reiju tapped and then a 2-cost Shiki. I don't have anything to kill with Z. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is so good. Okay, wait. Do I attack first? I want to see what he's holding 9 Dawn open for. I really do. But I think we get Reiju. Oh no, we get Law. Oh my god, we get Law and we get the 3-legged soldier. Yeah, no, we get Law and Shiki. I think Law is the funniest. But we can go 1. Let's go. Show me a 2K. No, not Dragon Twin. She was about to leave the field anyways, my guy. All right. Guess who's going to get their Dawn back? This boy. Let's go ahead and get Law. Do that one. Oh, sorry. I need to do one more. We could play the Shiki rested, but we don't really want to play another card rested at this point. And there's no real benefit to Shiki because it's a draw and a discard. And there's no benefit to any of these. So we're going to cancel the last one. Is there a reason? Oh, he didn't have 7. Fuck me, the math. Oh man, the Reiju was so much better. The issue was I thought he, no, he did have, he used Dragon Twister. Damn it. Oh. Oh, this game is breaking me. He used Dragon Twister. I should have done the Gecko first. Oh, this is such a weird game. Just play the 10-cost Kaido. Just do it already. Draw 2, discard 1. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Oh, sorry. I need to do that first. We could just dawn up the Gecko completely. Yeah, Drax, no, dude. Honestly, there's just so many cards in his hand. I really wasn't thinking about it, but I really should have thought about it. Do you have enough? The deck could probably go for like a blocker or 2. Yeah. Oh, you should have 10-cost Kaido, my guy. Even with my fuck up. Even with the fuck. Yeah, Z1. Z is the Z is the best. Let's go, Z. What? That last game, I'm like beside myself. I don't know what was going on. I can't believe I've top decked the Gecko. Oh my god. All right. I don't even know where to start. If I got 2 10-cost Kaido, but bro, don't lie. After the 10-cost Kaido play he had, and then I played 2 4-cost Laws in a row, that was so clutch. Never punished. Yeah, apparently not. I mean, like, I swung 19k at you, bro. Add a blocker. It's okay to run blockers. But this is why events are just okay. He was holding on to 2 Arabesque and the 10-cost Kaido. Oh my god. Okay, so, yeah. Next time, do the math, count the cards in hand. Reiju would have been better, I think, just because, we saw a 7-cost event that bottomed 2 6Ks, but like, what a weird play. I get the idea though, but it feels weird playing 10-cost Kaido in this deck. This 10-cost Kaido. It's what's being played in the meta right now, but how much draw did he actually get off his leader? Like, did he get enough draw? Because you filling up your hand sort of denies the effect of your leader. So, and also it's 10 Dawn to do that effect. So you're never going to be able to use your leader's effect. You're putting yourself so far back. So if the idea is just to swing 6k at me and cross your fucking fingers, that's not going to work. Also, he had the worst matchup because this is the deck with a shit ton of blockers. Okay, I'm going to say that this was a better version of Z. We can go back. I lost my fucking mind. That was great. We can go back and look, though. Yes, we didn't need as many blockers as we had. So I wish I could like look at the next 2 cards in my deck, or the next one. No, next two cards in my deck, just to see what my other cards would have been. But damn, that was so sick. That was so sick. That game was good. Okay. Let's go, and feel free to ask me any questions as we're here. Guys, I'll highly encourage you to, if you enjoyed this deck tech, before we close this out, if you enjoyed this, please feel free to leave this with a like. You'll get amazing off-meta decks like Zephyr, who is totally not worth buying an AA copy of. Please don't spend more than $50 for this leader. If you really love the character from like the film, or I guess the manga, I've not read the manga personally, then great. You know, like buy it if you're a collector, buy it if you want it for another reason, but don't buy it if you're looking to play like some sort of meta deck, because Z is anything but that. I think that his effect comes into play so it's not going to come into play as often as say a Sakazuki. So that matchup showed a lot. We were really close to winning. We really shouldn't have been. I'm going to say it shouldn't have taken that long for him to beat what I was doing, or it was very bad to watch. It was hard for me to watch because Sakazuki is so freaking consistent. You're always using his abilities every single turn. Even if you don't want to negative level something, you get to do it. But Z, on the other hand, is a different story, right? He's never going to be that consistent for a multicolored leader because you don't want to go -4 Dawn to kill 3 or less that often. So you need those synergies to make this work, which relies on you drawing. It's the only reason we're playing her. And she's not playable on curve because the effect is useless to you on curve. It's good in the Germa 66 deck with her, right? But surprisingly, I will say, here are the standouts. Let's look at the positives. Polly's a good new addition. Polly's great ramp and great removal. We need 2-for-1s. I want a body online and removal. Even if it doesn't stick, that's okay, because it does call for an answer. Love it. We used one of their resources, we removed a thing, we still ramped, and we had a 5-for-6 for like hot second, you know, just a real hot second. I think adding the queens is a great touch. I think queen is a fantastic card to get you back in the game when you need it. But I would rather swing 19k in some cases, and that's good too. We got to see Gecko do its thing when it's stuck. Amazing. This is a new like linchpin card. It is for every deck. It is so freaking good. When OP06 rolls around, and that's the issue. And I'm going to stick on the positive side here. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Gecko Moria, especially in black purple. Like we're looking at the cards here. There's so many cool combinations of things you can do. Even when you mess up, it's fun. Even when you mess up and play the law, it's fun. But I will say is that when this card does come out inevitably here, stateside, it's going to be good for every other deck. So Sakazuki, also going to be using it. Any deck in black that needs a decent top end, because just really think about it here. Your curve starts with a 1 to 2 drop searcher. And then it peters out, and then you start playing 3 to 4 cost blockers. 5 being the region where they are best, but 4, nothing to smirk at, gawk at. That region is also really good. So you hit things like this Law, you hit things like this Reiju, you hit things like this Uta, you hit things like this John Bard, you hit things like this Shirahoshi. But every other leader gets this card. That's the one thing that makes Z look less effective. Because yes, it'll utilize it really well, but other decks will utilize it better. So I love what this deck is doing. I don't think they give a shit about this leader because they've not done anything to help Neo Navy, and film in purple is just okay. Green film Uta is going to be amazing. There's the new film. There's film cards in red too. So that new film Uta looks really cool. And maybe that's something we do later. And maybe we even do a Ming Tribal. I'll fuck around with anything. So long as we have a good time. That's my one priority here. Purple and red really don't give a shit about each other. But you might have noticed with the Neo Navy, I'm sorry, not even Neo Navy, just Navy Z, he cares about power. So maybe this Uta gets to play with that Z. Like, I've not looked into the OP06 meta overseas to see if they're rocking this, but you can let me know, right? But it looks like purple's going to start caring about power. So that does make another 2-color pairing viable, because right now it's black with green, with purple, and with blue, caring about levels. But a lot of other color pairings right now are like water and oil. I keep saying this with these live streams. A lot of them don't give a shit about each other, but it looks like it's going to start to care because there's a shit ton of power reduction in red. So this Zephyr looks more playable, except, you know, Navy has searchers in blue and black. So in film does have searchers in purple. So maybe this Uta will want to play that. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But it could be really cool. Give one of your opponent's characters negative 2,000 power this turn, then add up to 1 Dawn card at rested. So sweet. So you get ramp on a body, and you get power reduction at the cost of a card from your hand. So you gotta ask yourself, is an event that says, a 0-cost event that says negative 2,000 power and ramp good enough? You tell me. I don't know. But maybe we do something with that. Sanji sounds kind of strong as a zoo deck. Has anything like that shown prevalence? Drax, sadly no. Sadly no. There hasn't been a real strong Sanji list, and you're referring to the blue-green Sanji or green-blue Sanji. Sorry. We can look at him really quick. Yeah, feel free to ask me any questions while we're chilling here. I think I've sort of summarized my thoughts on Z. Like, it's not... I don't want to say it's bad, because it definitely did things and it held its own against players. But I think in a tournament setting, I don't feel like this will go far. I think it'll win a few games one-off, but the strategy is so niche. You're not getting to use, beyond the color pairings of your leader, you really want their ability to be something to play for, something you want to go into those colors for. And while, yes, there are decent synergies for Z in black-purple now, those synergies are just better in other leaders. So you got to ask yourself, is negging 4 Dawn for this effect? Man, this needs to be revised. This needs to be rotted. Can I talk to someone? Bandai Namco, can we fix this? Could this be negative 3 Dawn to kill a 3 or less and get 1k power? Or could we bump it to negative 4 Dawn to kill a 4 or less? Because the 1k power is negligible. Like, again, I'm going to point at Katakuri and say, that guy's fucking whack, and he just gets 1k power for putting 1 Dawn on him. I have to negative 4 Dawn, and I get this as a side effect. Then there's Smoker, who has to have a 0 cost on the board to get 1k power. Go fuck off. The balance was not set with the effects of these leaders, and this is one of those leaders that it shows the most, sadly. I do think it's cool. Maybe they support it later and it gets really good, but right now I don't think it's there. And again, it could just be our deck makeup. Maybe I'm a shitty deck builder, but this is as good as I think I could make it. I think we probably want to kick these events though, actually. Why is it doing that? I don't know if we have enough targets for this to hit with the mermaids and the thriller barks and the Dressrosa, but we got 4. Nope. Navy. No, there's enough. Wait, is there enough? We need to kick these. We'll kick those later. I'll recommend... Oh, damn it. Let's look at the Sanji. I'm going to put 2 more cards in the deck. We'll put your Thunderbagua in. But Sanji is when you play a character without an effect from your hand, if it's 3 or less, you get to put set 2 Dawn as active, excuse me. If you have 3 or less characters, excuse me. So the idea being, I guess, conceptually that you could play through a whole range of characters from 3 for 5s, 5 for 7s, 7 for 9s, potentially. I would say that those would probably be your best, just based off of math. For most typical engagements, like you're not going to see, like if you see Whitebeards or if you see red, purple Luffys, obviously the math changes a little bit. You're not going to be able to 2 for 1 them as easily. But Sanji's fine. I have not seen many people pilot this deck to a win, and I've tried variants of it. I don't, not to brag, I've never lost to one of these builds. I've played them earlier in OP02 and OP03. I've not seen anyone play it in OP04 or OP05 for that matter. but it was a fan. Sanji's just a favorite character, so I would say take a crack at it to see if you can make it work, Drax. But it's probably going to be a difficult build. It's something I'd be interested in seeing. I'm probably going to make a Uta, personally, just so you guys know. I don't think I need to make a video on it. It's all pretty self-explanatory what she wants to do. And this Zoro and Sanji pairing seems really cool, but I think people have kind of cracked this one too. So you probably like defer to what people are playing in tournaments. Yamato's actually just fine. Like, she's not as broken as people thought she would be. And Perona reads just like Sakazuki to me, except instead of having a ability that lets you rummage, you just rest things. Dude, Perona is so good. Not as good as Sakazuki. She's good, in my opinion. But they're both playable. Like, I really like this choice of effect. I will say that Activate Main is better, but she only gets to do one of these things where Sakazuki gets to do two things every single turn. So seems pretty good. But yeah, there are cards you can play in Sanji that will work just fine. Let me add 2 cards to our list before we close this one out. Please let me know if you guys have built your own Zephyr in the audience. Like, if there's anything you think that this build deserves, if I'm being too harsh on it, let me know. Obviously, I'm here for any of your thoughts and opinions on these lists so we can make better versions of them. I'd be really happy to hear how you brew and play Zephyr. Didn't even notice he had 4 life as a leader. Yeah, all multicolored leaders generally have 4 life, except for a handful like Vivi, Nefeltari, Rebecca here, because they can't attack. Same thing with Iceberg, yet this motherfucker has 5 life. Ugh. Give him 6 life, or give him something else. Give him something else. I think this leader could attack and he would still not be meta. You know, so they did a trend with this set where they had a bunch of leaders that couldn't attack, like half of the leader pool. And for some reason, Iceberg was one of them, and you're just stuck in purple, and all you can do is play with Galley La Company cards. Like, fuck yourself. Sorry, not good. But yeah, generally speaking, when you look at dual colored leaders, they're going to be down to 4 life. Freaking Sakazuki. The only 6 life leader is Garbo. The only 6 life leader is Garbo. No, Whitebeard's pretty good, my friend. Are you talking about Whitebeard? He's good. He's not doing his. Oh, look, he wiped the floor with us earlier, but I'm gonna attribute that to something else. But he's been meta since he's come out and has been the top of a lot of national rankings. He's very playable. Right now, I think he's in a lesser place. Red's sort of fallen from prominence, and it needed to. Like, Red had been too powerful for too long and made the meta very stale. So I'm super happy to see other colors get a boost. Like, I love seeing Enel, Sakazuki, and Luffy, and people whipping these out and winning tournaments. That's freaking great. It needed to happen. Like, that change is so welcome. You know what's weird? Basil Hawkins. There you go. Done. You know why? Okay, so I don't mind this being a trigger played card from my life. I don't mind this being a 1k counter in hand. And I don't mind this being something that we consequently pull with Gecko Moria if everything else was bottom decked and I have nothing in my graveyard. It's not bad, and I don't want to think too much harder than I just did right there. So Basil Hawkins for now, but it could certainly be something else, let me tell you. He slowly kills himself over 6 turns. He does. But the way you read that, Drax, is he's slowly drawing you cards every turn, and then you dictate when you take damage. He's also changing the combat math on your opponents. And not only that, he's changing your opponent's curve. If you want to hit him, you need to put Dawn on your characters. So generally speaking, like you saw with what I did, you need to wait until the mid to late game to where you can start pressuring him. Unless you're putting down bodies that do 6k damage, you're not going to be able to vanilla swing and play out your curve comfortably, right? Like when we were looking at our curve for this list, I had established like turn 1, it's going to be 1 to 2 Dawn, turn 2, 3 to 4 Dawn. All of that changes when you're swinging at a 6k, right? That's why people really like Red Purple Luffy as well. But I'm going to be frank, I think that Whitebeard's probably better than Red Purple Luffy, just by and by. Is because you're seeing twice as many cards from your life as Red Purple Luffy, despite the fact that, you know, It's the difference being you have access to some cards in purple, and obviously some effects that care about 3 or less life, Zoro Juro, really just looking at you. I honestly prefer to just have more cards in hand. Card advantage is, real truth to being advantageous in winning games in any TCG I've ever played, card advantage. So having 3 more cards over like the next nearest guy you can throw a stick at that has 6k life is pretty good in my book. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, I really like this leader. But I do think that the Whitebeard's probably better long term. But yeah, this is more podcast territory. Guys, Z, I would avoid the AA. Pick up your standard copy like the one we were playing with today. Hopefully you can make it work. Please let me know if you have a version of this list that you think is hyper playable, hyper good. I would be very curious to see it. I like looking at off-meta leaders and off-meta strategies. And when I saw Z initially, I saw there being so much potential, but at the time there was no support. And it doesn't really feel like the cards that are supporting this list in this strategy benefit this more than any other of its competitors. So at that point, you're like, well, why don't I just play the contemporary that performs better or is more consistent or utilizes its leader more or has better synergies, frankly, right? So something like Sakazuki, that's my main deck. If you need to know, I'm not going out and playing Z, sadly. If it worked, I would. But guys, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see us build next Wednesday. I should really lead with this, but please let me know what leader you'd like to see next here on the channel. I'd be more than happy to explore it with you guys, talk strategy, obviously play a couple games, have a few manic, hysteric laughs over crazy. I can't even explain that last game, but it was very fun. But yeah, have a few more laughs together. But guys, I'll see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this one. Oh my god, what a weird game. What a weird game. Luffy got me, guys. Luffy really got me. That was such a